What's up guys, First Hand Account here again with another video. So you probably know what the topic of today's video is because of the title, but today we're going to be talking about the Leica Q again. I'm basically going to be going over my monochrome settings. First of all, I just want to say a huge shout out to everybody who has subscribed, all the new subscribers since my last video about the Leica Q and the hidden features of the Leica Q. I actually had some messages as well from people who purchased the Leica Q and actually found that video right away, so I hope I expedited some of the solutions to some of the problems that people have with the camera. I hope I expedited that process for you a little bit, but huge thank you to everybody who has subscribed. It really means a lot to me, and I honestly just love making these videos. I love talking about cameras and photography and filmmaking and movies and all the gear and all that kind of stuff. So I'm excited to keep making videos, and yeah, hello to everybody who's new. So today I'm going to be going over the monochrome settings that I use on my Leica Q. Now these are my personal settings, so they're not going to apply to every single person that has a Leica Q or that shoots in black and white. Everybody has their own personal preferences, which is why, in my opinion, there's not really two editing styles that look completely the same. Sometimes there's people that buy the presets of that person and just modify them slightly, and in that case it's pretty much a replica. But if you're just editing yourself, not using LUTs and not using presets, those edits should be unique to you and your own personal tastes and what you like and don't like. That should be reflected in the edit itself. So personally, I really like high contrast stuff. You can probably tell from my Instagram account, instagram.com/firsthandaccount, or my other Instagram account, which is instagram.com/monochromage. And monochromage is my black and white page that basically I'm going to be talking about that picture profile that I use for that page. I really like high contrast stuff. There's other people out there that like lower contrast stuff. I also like really low-key black and white, so much darker and grittier, and I do post some high-key stuff every once in a while, that kind of like brighter daytime scenery, but I do really like the dark tones and really high contrast and just hits of highlights in like a sea of darkness. So that's my style of black and white photography that I really like. I am inspired by one of my favorite photographers ever, whose name is Daido Moriyama, and he is a Japanese street photographer that did a ton of black and white work, and he did these really cool like from the hip abstraction shots and just different types of shots that aren't the usual shots that everybody gets. They're very much just an expression of him or what he felt in that moment, and he uses a very high contrast style to present his photography. So he, I think, is pushing, I forgot which film he uses, but he's usually pushing like a black and white film to like 1600 or 800 or 3200 to try to get the most gritty high contrast look from it, and it really complements his photographic style really well. So love his work, and that's kind of what drew me to high contrast stuff in the first place. Jason Peterson is a modern photographer that I really like, that also draws a lot of inspiration from the same people that I do. He loves Daido Moriyama, but he also really likes one of my favorite photographers, Stanley Kubrick, who's actually a director, but a lot of people are not familiar with Stanley Kubrick's film, black and white film photographs that he did. He was actually a photographer and shot a lot of urban and street photography before he moved on to be a director. So me being someone that loves street photography and loves urban photography, and now is starting to direct my first, short film and my first kind of commercial projects, I see a lot of similarities in his work and my work, and I draw inspiration from him a lot, which a lot of people do the same thing and draw a ton of inspiration from Kubrick. So the settings, right? The settings that I use are obviously the saturation. I put it on monochrome, or I put the saturation all the way down. Some Leicas say monochrome when you go into the settings. In the Leica Q, you have to go into the saturation one, and once you go in there, you have standard, medium, low, low, monochrome, and medium, high, and high. So I go down to monochrome, obviously, for saturation, and then For sharpness, I leave it on standard, and then contrast, I push it all the way up to high. If there was a super high setting, I would definitely use that just because I love that high contrast look. But yeah, those are the settings that I use on my Leica Q when I'm shooting monochrome or black and white photography. I love black and white photography. I just really like how timeless it looks and how much less post-processing it takes. Yes, you can burn and dodge, an image a lot to get various different contrast ratios on all different parts of the image. And I love doing that personally. But when you're with a color shot, you have to correct a lot of the stuff that the camera gets wrong. So it will never look as beautiful straight out of the camera as it did in your eyes, just because, certain cameras have different ways that they interpret color. So Canon cameras seem to lean more towards like the warmer tones like magenta and orange, and then you have like Nikon cameras which are a little cooler and lean more towards like the blue and green a little bit. And yeah, so each camera, the way that those sensors interpret color is very different, and most of the time when we're working with mixed lighting, so we have a bunch of different temperatures of light, like in a night scene or walking around downtown or interior where you have light bulbs and then you have light coming in from the window, which is almost every interior ever, then you're working with a lot of mixed lighting and the camera is actually getting a lot of that information wrong when it's guessing which color to make the sensor sensitive to. So when it's trying to compensate for that color shift, it lands somewhere in the middle, but it's never perfect and it's never what the eye sees. Leicas, in my opinion, are the most accurate in terms of the color reproduction. They're the most like natural, in my opinion, in terms of how the colors are reproduced from the sensor, so it looks a lot like what I saw with my own eyes. But yeah, with black and white photography, you don't have to worry about color grading, you don't have to worry about all of those things, you just worry about the tone, the different shades in the image itself. So what kind of shades you want from the whitest white to the blackest black, and which shades you want in between, and how blown out or pulled back you want the whites and blacks to be. And that's pretty much it. Maybe add a little bit of grain to try to make it look like a film stock, but other than that, it's very minimal editing compared to color grading in like color photography, because it's just so much more to deal with in terms of variables. So I love shooting in the black and white mode and just kind of walking around and bringing the Leica everywhere I go, kind of like a lifestyle camera, and literally making it an extension of me. And everywhere I go, if I go somewhere and I see some photo that might, intrigue me, that I might not ever post to my like main account, I can take that photo and at least show some people that I see other photos and I take other photos other than these really highly produced landscape shots that everybody kind of knows me for in my little circle. So yeah, I love shooting black and white. I love shooting street photography, and the black and white page has allowed me to post a lot of that street photography that I might not have posted on my main account, and it's just reinvigorating every aspect of photography that got me interested in the first place and got me passionate and got me excited and happy to do it every day. I'm a big believer that if you keep doing the same thing all the time, eventually people will catch on that not only are you getting complacent, but you're probably getting bored with doing the same things all the time and shooting the same stuff all the time. And people can feel that through your work. It's crazy how much your emotions come out subconsciously in the images that you create. So yeah, I just noticed my work started getting really repetitive and not something that I was super proud of, so I just wanted to try something new. And a lot of people have been liking the black and white page, so to all my followers that follow me on the First Hand Account page that came over, I really appreciate it. I'm glad you guys like that work, because it's the truest work to my heart right now. Yeah, to all the new followers that I've gotten on the black and white page, hello, and thank you so much for following me and liking the work. And I'm always humbled when people like my work at all, let alone enough to follow me. I'm really excited to show you guys what's going on in that page and show you guys more black and white work. I post on that page probably like twice a day right now, so pretty frequently. As much as I can go take photos, I'll post on that page as much as possible. And yeah, thanks for watching this video. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for buying prints as well. Sell them on my website. People seem to like them. So other than that, I guess I'll catch you guys in the next video, and have a good one. Peace.